Is it a good time to buy real estate in Colorado? If you're new here, my name is Joe Massey with Castle Cooke Mortgage. I specialize in helping people purchase their new home, their first home, investment property, second homes, and helping people understand the real estate market. A question that I'm getting frequently right now, is it a good time to buy real estate? So real estate agents out there, are you working with this buyer? Or maybe you are a buyer. Are you feeling like this with the market right now? You're stressed, you're frustrated, just not sure what to do. Well, what are buyers stressed out about right now? Number one, high interest rates. Interest rates have absolutely increased over the last 18 months. It's too expensive to buy. Home prices have gone up. It costs too much. I'm waiting for prices to come down. There's going to be a foreclosure boom, or it just seems like a good time to wait. There's a lot of uncertainty, and maybe I should wait and purchase a home at some other point in the future. Well, let's dive into each one of these areas and see what it really makes sense to do right now in this market. Let's start by talking about high interest rates. Now, the peak home buying years for the average American is somewhere between the ages of 30 and 40. A lot of folks buy their homes sooner than that. Some folks buy homes after that, but that's really the peak demographic year when people buy their first home. So let's take somebody born in 1990 who is now 33 years old, and they're in their peak home buying years, maybe thinking about buying their first property or maybe a trade-up property. Over their lifetime, the average interest rate for this person has been 5.96. Now, we've all seen the slides and we've seen the data that over the last 50 years, interest rates have averaged 8.25%. So where we're at currently with a 30-year fixed rate average of 6.81 is still historically below average. But if you're a young person or an average age person buying your first home, you don't remember those high interest rates. You remember an average of 5.96 over your lifetime. But do you really remember when rates were this high? Let's think about that for a second. When you turned 18, that's probably about the time you became aware of finances and interest rates and things like that. So over the time period that you've been an adult, the average interest rate that you might remember is a rate of 4.25%. Therefore, most home buyers feel like interest rates should be right around 4.25. So this increase feels really big, and it is really big. Does that mean that you shouldn't buy a home? I don't know. Does that mean you should wait for rates to come down? Well, let's take a look at that. A lot of folks I'm speaking with right now are saying, you know what, Joe, I'm going to wait for interest rates to come down, and then I'm going to buy a property. Well, let's look at some of the rate projections from a year ago, August of 2022. So the experts and economists at that time anticipated that mortgage rates are going to decline over the upcoming year. So this is from a year ago, and here we are now in third quarter of 2023. What were the experts predicting? Interest rates would be at 4.86%. Where are we currently? 6.81%. So those projections were low by almost a full 2% in interest rates. So where does that mean that we are today? Well, today, interest rates are again at 6.81%, but projections are that rates are going to be at 6.1. So these projections are still lower than current interest rates by 0.71%. So what does that mean? Are rates going to come down like this? Maybe, maybe not. But what we're seeing, there are fewer and fewer indicators that interest rates are going to come down in the near future. The Federal Reserve's campaign to tame inflation and engineer a soft landing rather than a recession appears to be working. So buyers that are hoping for reduced interest rates late this year or early next year, those hopes might not come true. Now, I have been wrong before. I also thought that interest rates would be going down by this point, but a lot of signs are pointing to they may not be going down anytime this year, maybe not even early next year. So now let's talk about it's too expensive to buy. There was an analysis completed by Redfin in March of this year, really great article. They went through and compared the 50 most populous US metro areas, including Denver. In their analysis, they came up with the conclusion that it costs $1,663 more on a monthly basis to own a home than it does to rent in Denver. And so the conclusion is, therefore, you should just rent for the rest of your life because it's cheaper. Well, not sure I agree with that. And I actually went through and did a full analysis and compared with higher rates and expensive homes, is it really cheaper to rent than to buy? And over this 5-year analysis, what we found out is renting, you will pay $184,000 in rent over 5 years, and you will build exactly $0 worth of equity. If you buy a single family home, you will pay more. You'll pay approximately $209,000 in payments. However, you're going to build potentially $237,000 in equity. There is a cost of roughly $580 a month as compared to renting. So yes, it is more expensive than renting right now, but you're going to build a whole lot of equity. What about if you were to buy a condo or townhome? Over 5 years, you will have paid $157,000 in payments, and you will have built up as much as $160,000 in equity, resulting in a savings of $278 per month as compared to renting. So with high rates and expensive homes, is it really cheaper to rent? Not necessarily. If you want to learn more about this, I did a full 20-minute video on this that you can check out on our website under the tab, Is It Cheaper to Rent Than to Buy? We take a real deep dive into that. Would love it if you would take a look at that and give me your feedback. So maybe buying isn't actually that bad compared to renting. Are there other benefits to homeownership? Yes, absolutely. Number one, tax savings. You might be able to deduct your interest payments on your federal and state tax returns. Of course, be sure to talk with your CPA about this. Principal reduction. Every month, a portion of your payment is going to go towards your principal and build up your equity rather than your landlord's equity if you're renting. You're also going to get the benefit of property appreciation. Property in the Denver metro area have averaged 6% appreciation annually over the last 45 years. If you own that property, you're going to be the beneficiary of that property appreciation. If you're renting that property, your landlord is the beneficiary of that property appreciation. But appreciation can be a hot button. A lot of folks say, yeah, Joe, appreciation's been great over the last 45 years, but aren't prices going to go down? So I'm going to wait for prices to go down. Well, we've done some analysis, and in the Denver metro area, we've seen over the last 2 quarters that prices have come down as much as 3% on an annualized basis. And nationwide, every big metric prepared by Zillow, Case-Shiller, Fannie Mae is actually showing that we are past the bottom of the price drops. All right, and what you're seeing is this section right here, prices already did go down. So we are likely past the bottom of any depreciation. And you see, since the first part of this year, prices have started to go back up. Not a lot, but a little bit on a month-over-month basis. And there was actually an article that came out just the other day from CoreLogic that the June home appreciation shows that appreciation may be bottoming out, meaning that we've hit the bottom and now we're going to start going back up. So buying a home right now might be a really good idea for you to be the one that takes advantage of that appreciation over the coming years. Now, a lot of folks will also say, but Joe, isn't there going to be a foreclosure boom? Aren't the number of foreclosures going to go up? Well, that's a really great question. And a leading indicator for foreclosures is delinquencies. When a consumer falls behind on their mortgage, that takes some time for them to really go into foreclosure, and then that foreclosure to work through the system. This blue line that you see here is showing the national delinquency rate, again, a leading indicator for foreclosures. And what you see, it's at the lowest it's ever been over the last 20 years. And even if all of these homes were to come on the market tomorrow, it is not going to make a meaningful impact in the Denver market. Right now, we're at approximately 1.5 months of inventory, meaning that all the homes that are coming on the market, if no more homes came on the market, it would take 1.5 months for all of those homes to sell. Well, if all of these foreclosures were to come on the market, that would move us to 2.2 months of inventory. Not a very meaningful number if all of these homes were to come on the market in foreclosure. So no, there's not going to be a foreclosure boom. Even if all these homes did come on the market, that is not going to solve the inventory crisis that we're experiencing in Denver. So what happens if you wait? You're waiting for all these things to occur, and I understand that. What about if you buy today? Your price, let's say an average price of $600,000, and you put 20% down and you spend $120,000 on your down payment, and you get today's interest rate of 6.81%. Well, that is going to give you a principal and interest payment of $3,132. And if you wait for 12 months and rates do go down, what's that going to look like? Well, number one, if rates go down, that means that we've likely experienced appreciation. And I think we covered in the prior slides, we're likely to have about 3% appreciation over the next 12 months, meaning that that home price has gone up and is now approximately $618,000. Now, you still might decide to make a 20% down payment, but if interest rates go down, you're going to see a lot of buyers coming off the sidelines and purchasing properties. Now, you guys all remember a year ago, 2 years ago, when there was a lot of buyers, you were having to pay as much as $5,000, $10,000, maybe even $20,000 above the asking price. So let's say if that happens again, which it's likely to when interest rates go down, you're going to make your 20% down payment plus that $20,000 above asking price for a total payment of about $143,000 down. Now, the big reason you're waiting, hopefully interest rates are going to go down. All right. And I think we've talked about that may or may not happen, but a lot of signs are pointing towards it's not going to happen. But what does that lower interest rate get you? A lower payment. And that's the whole point, right? That's the whole reason why a lot of folks are waiting is they say, Joe, I want to wait for interest rates to go down so that I can save $325 a month as compared to today's payment. I totally understand that. But if you're investing $23,600 more and you're saving $325 a month, it takes 6 years of those monthly payment savings to repay yourself for that increased investment. So waiting could cost you a lot in that additional down payment and doesn't save you as much as you might like. Now, one really important point that we're talking about right now is what if you were to buy today and refinance later? So let's say you go with the scenario on the left and you do buy today, and 12 months from now, interest rates are lower. One of the great things we have here at Castle Cooke Mortgage is we have our Simplify program, which is a voucher that all of our clients receive that says that you can refinance with us anytime over the next 3 years with no lender fees. So it's a great way that you can save money by buying today and then refinancing in 12 months if interest rates do hopefully come down to that 5.5%. So what does that mean if you were to buy today and then refinance in the future? You would actually have an even lower payment than waiting for interest rates to go down. So what's your total cost of waiting in this scenario if you were to wait 12 months? $63,000. So is it a good time to buy? We talked about higher interest rates. A real great way to get over that is to buy now and refinance later. It's too expensive to buy. I think it's too expensive not to buy. Again, go check out our video on the total cost to rent versus buy in the Denver market right now. I think the numbers will be absolutely staggering and show you it is too expensive to not buy a property. I'm waiting for prices to come down. Unfortunately, prices already did come down and now they're going back up. I'm waiting for the foreclosure boom. Not likely to happen. You know, anybody that is falling behind on their mortgage is likely going to call their real estate agent and just sell the property and walk away with a lot of equity. Even if they do go to foreclosure, there's not enough delinquencies out there to lead to a meaningful impact on the inventory in the Denver market. And finally, it just seems like a good time to wait. I understand conventional uncertainty in the market, but waiting could cost you as much as $63,000 or more, depending on the type of property that you buy. Is it a good time to buy? I think resoundingly yes. If you'd like to talk more about this, give me a phone call. We offer conventional loans, FHA, VA, jumbo, investment cash flow loans. We can help you with a purchase, refinance, primary home, just about any type of long-term financing that you need. And real estate agents, of course, don't forget about our 8-day rush service, our average transaction time of only 21 days, our 100% pre-approval track record, our partnership with HomeBot to help you work with your database, our e-flyers and websites for your listings. And of course, all of our classes are taught in person and online. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. And of course, you can download our mobile mortgage calculator on your smartphone in order to calculate monthly payments, interest rates, mortgage insurance, anything you might need to determine that monthly payment. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you guys again soon.